Hello there, it's 8 p.m. in Banjul. We're coming to you live from our studios here on MDI Road. This is the news and in our headlines tonight. President Barrow presides over the swearing-in ceremony of a new judge of the Supreme Court, President of the Appeal Court, and a female member of the Independent Electoral Commission at the State House on Wednesday. The Food Safety and Quality Authority orders the closure of the Brikama fish market after inspection on hygiene and sanitation. And work in earnest, the new Information Minister Lamin Queen Jammeh tours the Gambia radio and television services to gather first-hand information on the state of affairs of the institution. The Scorpions of the Gambia intensify preparations ahead of the Saturday encounter with the Bright Stars of South Sudan in what will be the first game for both teams in the qualifiers for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. Plus, Ukraine has asked Washington to provide high-tech medium-range rockets as the fight for Donbas reaches its climax. Well, that's the top of the news and much more coming ahead with me, Fatu Ilika Muloshi. Many thanks for staying with us. Hello there, it's great to have you here. Now, the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, on Wednesday presided over the swearing-in ceremony of a new judge of the Supreme Court, a female president of the Appeal Court, and a female member of the Independent Electoral Commission. The ceremony held at the State House in Banjul was attended by the Vice President, Dr. Badara Juf, the Minister of Justice, Dauda Jallow, the Chief Justice, and the Chairman of the IEC. Ibrahim Jallow was there and fathered this report.
New appointees led by the Chief Justice Hassan B. Jallow and the Chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission IEC Ali Momar Njai arrived to a beautiful setting at the State House where the Holy Scriptures and the Oath Book had been tabled for the formal event. Justice Omar M. Njai was the first to take the oath as Judge of the Supreme Court, followed by Justice Nasise Salawada as President of the Court of Appeal and one Hadishidat Job as member of the IEC. They were taken through the swearing-in process administered by the Secretary to Cabinet, Ibrahim Sise. After signing the oath book, Justice Njai described his appointment and that of his colleague, Justice Salawada, as indications of President Barrow's commitment in ensuring efficiency and independence of the judiciary, enhancing democracy and the rule of law. He applauded the Gambian leader for investing in the judiciary for an improved access to justice and public trust. He promised to serve as expected.
An increased investment in the judiciary will without question improve access to justice and by extension nurture the prevalence of the rule of law, which would be to the immense benefit of the people of this country, not to mention in particular domestic and foreign investors. To whom much is given, much is also expected. We therefore wish to assure Your Excellency, your government, and our people that we take our constitutionally prescribed judicial oaths of office very seriously indeed.
The Chief Justice Hassan B. Jallow describes the appointment as well-deserved and thanked the President for considering the human and material resources required for the smooth operations of the judiciary.
Very well deserved. Both of them bring a lot of experience to their new positions, a lot of judicial experience as lawyers, and I'm sure they will add value very much to the two positions that they have been appointed to. Their elevation is part of the process of filling up existing vacancies in the judiciary, and it's a process that will be continuing. This is an occasion which we'd also like to see is to reaffirm the commitment of the judiciary to ensuring the delivery of quality justice expeditiously without undue delay.
The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, congratulates the new appointees and says his government is committed to Gambianizing the judiciary for national interest.
There is no doubt that we have delivered on our promise to Gambianize the judiciary, which is the only way to minimize our dependence on external judges for the operations of our judiciary. Similarly, we expect Madam Hadi Job's appointment as Commissioner of the Independent Electoral Commission will add value to the work of the Commission. My government is aware of the key role the judiciary plays in the quest for a stable and progressive nation wherein we uphold the rule of law and all are equal before the law.
President Barrow further assured of his government's commitment to modernizing the judiciary to achieve the desired goals.
I must reiterate my government's commitment to supporting and developing the judiciary for the realization of the objectives outlined in its new strategic plan. I assure you of our determination to remedy the current infrastructure deficit with a view to modernizing our judiciary and improving the terms of service of judicial officers.
These newly appointed justices of the Supreme and Appeals Courts and the new member of the IAC are now expected to set the ball rolling in their respective positions. Ibrahima Jallo, GRTS News.
And work in earnest. The new Information Minister, Lamin Queen Jammeh, has been touring the Gambia radio and television services to gather first-hand information on the state of affairs of the state broadcaster. Aissatou Keita has more on the Wednesday familiarization tour.
The swearing-in ceremony, I had an intention. It became obligatory on me that the new assignment must be carried out. And the beginning of it has to start with familiarizing myself with those partners with whom I was supposed to work.
He is the new Minister of Information, following sweeping changes by the President in naming a new cabinet with the Ministry of Information now standalone ministry. This is one of his first major official engagements as minister, responsible for information-related issues of government, where the media remains central. A first face in such a capacity as minister, though familiar with such engagements and activities, but in a different capacity. The familiarization visit seeks to give him first-hand information on the existing media institutions in the Gambia, the actors behind these institutions and their operations.
If you are working together, it is important that you share matters of common interest to the participating parties. All right? Hoping that this will further enhance the enabling environment that government creates and continue to create for the free flow of credible, timely, reliable, and accurate information for sustainable democracy to continue in this country, going alongside with national development.
Poliso FM in Banjul was the first port of call for the team, where the minister first interacted with the deputy IG on the operations of the FM and the magazine. The minister happens to be the first in such a capacity to visit the place, which is currently challenged with network coverage in terms of reach and that of capacity for the staff. Quite pleased with the visit by the minister, the top command at the police headquarters assured of the strengthening of the working relationship, which also includes working in line with the codes of ethics. Then was the Taxi FM in Bruceby, formerly Unique FM, under the leadership of Lamin Manga. It was a similar engagement where the minister and delegation took a tour of the facility.
This access to information law is now a watchword in the media fraternity, and it is our intention to share this policy with stakeholders and actors so that we understand it as a policy and get ourselves prepared for its implementation.
The implementation of the Access to Information Law was one key issue that resonated in the messages of the minister during his visit, and this was extended to Kerfatu in Bijulo and Kora FM, who were both pleased with the minister's visit, seen as an inspiration which will thus strengthen the bond between government and the media. At Alfala Radio, its management made mention of its challenges, which includes lack of funding and support in maintaining the radio. This was followed by a visit to Radio Gambia, which has been in existence since 1971. Minister was pleased with some of the information gathered regarding the daily operation of the place, but was quick to highlight the need to maintain the equipment for longevity. It was the same for the television arm of the institution, where the minister was taken round the facility and introduced to all the departments. This is the first step undertaken to acquaint himself with institutions and partners under his watch, whilst also send across message from government in terms of media development in the Gambia. Minister Jammeh has, prior to his appointment, served in various fields, a degree holder in development studies, who is a seasoned educationist with 16 years in the field, 16 years in local administration in the North Bank, and now a minister with a belief that information is power. For GRTS News, this is Aissatou Keita.
Now, the Brikama fish market has been ordered to a close by the Food Safety and Quality Authority following an assessment of the sanitary and hygienic conditions by the authority's officials. Inspection officers said the decision is taken due to the facility's unhygienic and unhealthy environment. Alajimbai has more.
Officials of the Food Safety and Quality Authority visited the Brikama fish market to inspect the sanitation and hygiene standards at the popular market. They expressed concern over the lack of proper drainage system in place. The Director General of the Gambia Food Safety and Quality Authority, Mahmoud Ba, who led the inspection team, says the situation of the market is not in line with food safety standards.
We have had series of inspections, and these inspections are all pointing out to immediate closure of this place. So we are getting close to the rainy season, and with this kind of condition, and this is also where people buy food, people sell food, and the food that is being sold here under these horrible conditions are not fit for consumption by anyone.
Mr. Ba reiterated his office's resolve to enforce the closure in accordance with the Food Safety Act until the standards are met at the facility.
Because we understand that this market is not under the area council, and we had that verified by the governor this afternoon. So, and I think it has got to do with fisheries perhaps, this particular area. It doesn't matter which department or which ministry. Our mandate doesn't have boundaries. Wherever we find any violation of the Food Safety Act, it's our responsibility to get up and do what is right.
The measures he explained include the construction of a proper drainage system and the provision of good cold storage facilities for proper preservation of fish.
In this case, the situation is grave. We don't have to give them any improvement notice. So we have to close them, and then we allow now remedial action to take place. You know, there is very poor drainage, and they have to sort out that drainage issue, and also the cold storage. You could see the hygienic condition of the cold storage. Some of the fish is not even preserved.
The chairman of the Brikama Market Committee for the Manjang disclosed that over $400,000 worth of fish was at the market the time the closure was ordered. Manjang said he had prior engagements with the former Minister of Fisheries to address the challenge, but to no avail.
There is over $400,000 worth of fish currently in the market. I met the former Fisheries Minister on 3 occasions. He promised to send the PS here and provide septic tanks, but to no avail.
One of the fish vendors, Kadi Janko, who was already in tears, explained that she spent over $9,000 to buy the consignment of fish in her fridge, which she now stands to lose.
My mother spent $3,000 and I spent $6,000 and we are expecting another consignment. We cannot estimate the amount we stand to lose.
Others in the vicinity, including tailoring shops affected by the market condition, were also ordered to vacate for health reasons, as the bad odor remained unbearable. Alajimbai, GRTS News.
Well, the Ministry of Health inaugurates the refurbished maternal ward of the Sarakunda Health Center, meant to improve service delivery on maternity matters. The renovation was supported by the UNFPA and partners. Aminata Isanya has the details.
For the maternal ward of the Sarakunda Hospital, completely refurbished and supported by UNFPA through the Ministry of Health, graced by hospital staff, sponsors, health officials and community leaders.
This new state-of-art of the maternity unit is uniquely designed to allow male involvement in the labor war as partner to encourage companionship. It is a dream to have the best maternity unit within the country. We have the maternity unit that meet international standards.
The Ministry of Health called on the staff to deliver quality services.
Every maternity matters. And the aim of UNFPA, together with our effort as a Ministry of Health, is to make sure that we have zero maternal mortality. And this can only be achieved towards collective actions, towards reaching a common destination. And that destination is to make sure that we improve and reduce maternal mortality to zero. But this can only be achieved through our collective responsibilities.
Committed to ensuring women are provided optimum care during labor, UNFPA pledged continuous support towards promoting the welfare of women.
Investing in improving the condition of the facility and ensuring that everyone who seeks care here receives it in the highest possible standard is a noble step. Just to recall, sometime in 2020, UNFPA joined the Honorable Minister, Dr. Samate, to visit the facility. Upon seeing the challenges under which women were giving birth in this facility, they explored the potential of improving delivery and quality of care. And UNFPA committed itself to innovate and refurbish the maternity unit, including the labor ward, the postnatal wards, the family planning clinic, the reproductive and child health clinic, and the public health office.
UNFPA handed the keys over to the ministry and taken on a tour of the ward, refurbished with quality to ensure efficient and effective services are delivered. Aminata Isanya, GRTS.
Laudable initiative there. Now, Riders for Health Board of Directors and Management have been visiting the NGO's workshops and residents in the provincial Gambia to have a feel of their challenges in healthcare service delivery. Louis Mendy reports on the routine exercise designed to bring efficiency also in the management of the transportation for the health ministry. Details in this report by
Policy zero tolerance for breakdown as the NGO continues to manage the transportation system for the Ministry of Health, including motorbikes, ambulance, and generators. To do that effectively, Riders has instituted mechanical workshops and residence for technicians in all regions across the country. The Board of Directors and senior staff of the NGO over the weekend visited the facilities to have a feel of their challenges. Usman Yabo is the board chair at the NGO.
We as board members, we need to know what is happening on the ground at workplaces of Riders for Health. And that is why we came out to have a chat with them. Because you cannot ask people to work under certain conditions that they don't like. We also need to be familiar with them so that they are free to tell us what their challenges are. At board level, we can recommend to management to resolve their problems. And that's why we are going around.
And from Basse down to Bansang and Soma, technicians say they need tools for the job. The old supply is worn out. Arthur Ashcroft is the vice chair at the board.
Generally, most of the complaints coming from the technicians with regards to tools, with regards to other equipment that they're supposed to use to carry out their work, which we all understand and appreciate, because as technicians, these are very important things that they need.
The tools, we're going to procure the tools. In fact, it's already started. The procurement has already started in the headquarters. Yes, we required the list and everything has been given out. So we started the procurement of the tools.
In Bansang Central River Region and Jarasoma in the Lower River Region, technicians mention fuel for operation as their challenges. The consumption is demand-driven, and the monthly supply sometimes got finished before the next round of supply reaches them.
We need a budget to do the operations, to make sure that services are done, referrals are not cancelled, RCH are not cancelled. But let's try to apply operational discipline. Government cannot do it all by itself. The fuel costs money, running the ambulances cost money. At the end of the day, all the wear and tear that occurred on the ambulance need to be replaced so that we can sustain continuity in the service without interrupting anything. So now I am appealing to the Ministry of Health, all their field workers that need transport to execute their services, to apply operational discipline so that however austerity measures targets can be gained.
And what happened after the riders top brass meeting with the technician? Usman Juf, a board member, explained.
When we get back to Kanifing, we'll ensure that all the problems that we have mentioned here will be taken care of. And in fact, we have started drawing the plans. As I'm talking to you, there is an important issue they raised at Bansang. We started working on it. By the time we meet on Saturday, next Saturday, which will be our board meeting, we'll discuss about it and then we'll advise management to make sure that they don't waste any time in implementing that.
The Riders countrywide dialogue with technicians is a routine exercise. Riders Board of Directors and management believe it is the only way forward for a more progressive future in the healthcare service delivery. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Well, a three-day training in peace building and social cohesion targeting school-going children is underway in the Lower River region. Usman Balda reports on the event organized by the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education in collaboration with National Council for Civic Education.
The training was meant to promote peaceful coexistence and respect for the rule of law by students and staff of various schools. Speaking at the forum, the head of the Life Skills Education Unit at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Parasen, discussed the importance and components of the training.
You look at the indicator is talking about youth, young people in and out of school. You know that there are some students, they are in the conventional schools, but there are some that drop along the line because maybe they fail or they had just got some issues that have made them drop out. And we call them the second chance. We are looking at the first cohort. We have them here as part of the participants. Because when we have teachers train and then students also train, if you have those that are out of the school that are maybe in the second chance centers and they are also trained along this thing, it means you have done a holistic approach. And know that this fund is not only for education, but there are also other partners that are doing the same thing. You have community development, you have Gambia Police Force, you have National Youth Council. So it's a collaborative effort of trying to raise the civic awareness of citizens of this country. So every ministry or every department is doing its own stake. So as we are training teachers and students also, there are other ministries that are also training their women folk, they are also training the police, they are also training the youth structures in civic education and peace building.
Karamba Tonko, a principal education officer at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education in Mansakonko, expressed delight over the training. This, he said, will enable students contribute effectively to national development.
As educationists, we always believe that children of your age are very good vector of information. You interact with a lot of different stakeholders at your level. Your parents are there, your peers who are going to school, they are there, your classmates are there. There are other children in the community who are not in school. They are also living in the school, in the community. So little thing you learn from this workshop, and then if you make some follow-up, in terms of practical activities at the school level, forming clubs, conducting practical activities, sharing ideas with people. When you go down to your level also, you start, intimating your mothers, your fathers, your peers. I think that's a long way, in achieving the objective, the goals and the objectives of this workshop.
According to the participants, the training will help them understand their civic rights and duties. Usman Balde, GRTS News.
Now, a family in dire need for help. Paulina Mendy, a single parent resident in Brikama, Jamisa, needs corrugate to roof her house. The Friday rain has pulled a part of her building down, destroying a good quantity of valuables. Paulina fears the worst could happen if the next rains find her house not roofed. Those with financial capabilities to help can reach on the number you are seeing on your screens. Our time now for our first break. Sports news is up next. Do stay.
Hello, Sister Nya here, and today we are doing the unboxing of the AfriCell 4G LTE CPE router. Have you gotten yours yet? Here it is. All right, now let's do the unboxing of the AfriCell 4G CPE router. I do love the sound of opening new stuff. And this right here is a beauty. What you don't know is it also takes you for an extra 6 hours of charge when there's no power. No power, no problem. Get your CPE routers now at your nearest AfriCell outlet and thank me later.
Welcome back. Now, the Scorpions of the Gambia intensify preparations ahead of the Saturday encounter with the Bright Stars of South Sudan in what will be the first game for both teams in the qualifiers for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. The Scorpions, who had a week training in camp in Dubai, touched down in Senegal on Tuesday and had a recovery session on the beaches of the Atlantic coast in Sali. They later had their first training session at the Stade La Dior multi-sport stadium in Chess, where they are expected to play their first game on June 4th. You're watching GRTS News with me, Fatu Elika Mloshi. We are now going for our second break. International news is up next. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, for months now, businesses in Kenya have complained about limits often set by banks on the amount of US dollars they can buy. Earlier in April, the US banking giant JP Morgan had warned clients it was experiencing delays in getting the FX it needed to handle their trades in Kenya. The Kenya Association of Manufacturers also raised the alarm in the same month and again at the end of May, saying there is a real risk of creating a parallel shadow market with unwanted consequences. In his May 31 briefing, the governor of Kenya's central bank argued that no such dysfunction in the interbank FX market exists. CGTN's Ramanyang explored the effects of this hard currency shortage with the chairman of the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Makai Kunyiha.
They'll give you all their problems from rain, fertilizer, seeds, everything, a long list. If you sat down with a student, they'll also give you a long list of questions, of issues. If you sat down with a central bank governor, he'll also give you his long list of issues. So I think there's a danger here to think manufacturing is kind of special. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you, that actually it's not. So sure, there are all these issues of tax uncertainty. Sure. There are issues of input prices, but I don't think they are any different from any other person. If you ask or any other sector, if you ask the farmer, they'll tell you my input prices are changing, and I have no control of that. So I think the point here is to appreciate that we all have to do our job. Let's do our job, and then without complaining, let's do our job.
U.S. President Joe Biden has agreed to provide Ukraine with rockets that can strike with precision at long-range Russian targets as part of a new U.S. package to help Kyiv defend itself in the 3-month-old war that began with Russia's February 24 invasion. Details in this France 24 report.
That Ukraine says will be a game changer on the battlefield. In a guest essay published in the New York Times, US President Joe Biden confirmed the decision to send new rocket systems. He said they'd allow Kyiv to precisely strike key targets on the battlefield in Ukraine, but he added he wasn't encouraging or enabling Ukraine to strike beyond its borders. Leaders in Kyiv have been pleading for months for such weapons, saying they could turn the tide of the war.
Everyone, at every level, must now lobby for the supply of modern, heavy weapons and modern artillery to our state, all those systems that can really speed up Ukraine's victory.
US officials say the plan is to send Ukraine a weapon called the High Mobility Artillery Rocket System. It could give Ukrainian forces the ability to strike targets while staying outside the range of Russian artillery. And it means they could reach targets far behind Russian lines with greater precision. The system can support rockets with a range of up to 300 kilometers, but officials plan to supply missiles that can fire no further than 80 kilometers. And they say Ukraine has assured them it won't use the weapons to fire inside Russian territory. Since Russia invaded Ukraine back in February, NATO countries have been treading a fine line. They've provided Ukraine with military support, but stopped short of supplying weaponry that could trigger a wider war with Russia.
But that does it for this news. But before we take leave of you, a quick look at our top stories once again. President Barrow has handed or presided over the swearing-in ceremony of a new judge of the Supreme Court, president of the Appeal Court, and a female member of the Independent Electoral Commission at the State House on Wednesday. The Food Safety and Quality Authority has ordered the closure of the Brikama fish market after inspection on the hygiene and sanitation. And work in earnest, the new Information Minister Lamin Queen Jammeh toured the Gambia radio and television services to gather first-hand information on the state of affairs of the institution. The Scorpions of the Gambia have intensified preparations ahead of the Saturday encounter with the Bright Stars of South Sudan in what will be the first game for both teams in the qualifiers for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. Plus, Ukraine has asked Washington to provide high-tech medium-range rockets as the fight for Donbass reaches its climax. Well, that's it for this hour. I'll be back again at 2200 hours for more. Until then, enjoy the rest of our programs.
Hello! There's a new update from your favorite GSM operator, AfriCell.
For all of you that have struggled to buy cash power beyond $7,000, AfriCell has done it again. The limit to buy cash power is now up to $30,000. Oh yes, $30,000.
Buy all the cash power you want from your AfriMoney account by dialing *777#.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
It's an amazing offer. AfriMoney just got way better. The threshold for cash in and cash out on your AfriMoney has been increased.
Where it used to be $10,000 per transaction, now it has been increased to $30,000. Meaning, your AfriMoney account, you can now withdraw and deposit up to $30,000 at once.
Cashing in and out just got 3 times easier. For more info, call 777.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.